Hi, I'm Paul.
And I'm Tiffany.
To some, we could be called career wizards.
And to others, sometimes we seem like therapists. However, we definitely are not.
But for you, we are the co hosts of the Career Boosters podcast.
Imagine now what should I do with those 4 months? But yeah, there were some days of discouragement, but it is what it is. And as you guys say that do whatever is in your hands, the resume, LinkedIn part, all of those were in my hands, but the rest was not. So I just went with it.
Hello and welcome to the Career Boosters podcast. I am Paul.
And I'm Tiffany.
Season 2, episode 4. My goodness gracious, time is flying along. We cannot wait to talk to a second year student, Harman Kaur, about she is going to share her experience so far in the MBA program, her background, and I think more importantly, finding value in the unexpected. The little teaser for you, value in the unexpected. I love it. Harman, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show. The first question we have for you is, what is the story behind your decision to embark on an MBA journey right now?
So my decision to pursue an MBA was driven by a combination of factors, which was like I felt which were crucial for my personal and professional growth. While I was working as a consultant in IT services and consulting company, I felt that although I had some rewarding moments in the field that I loved the technical aspect of my role, but still I felt that there was something like where I had reached a plateau. I know it might sound like unusual to reach a plateau so early in my career, like just in 4 years. Maybe people feel that in 8 to 10 years in their role. But for me, I believe that in order to grow, some motivation and challenges are required. It's closely tied. So without feeling motivated and challenged, I felt that there was a gap there where I didn't feel that I could see a clear career path for myself in the form of growth and development. So that was my reason to embark on an MBA at this point of time in my life. And I also felt that this was a great way to improve my skill sets and maybe better position myself for strategical or managerial positions. And I also felt that MBA would be a great path to just get out of my comfort zone because I felt that I had been too comfortable in that position for so long.
I love that you're here because you wanted to get uncomfortable and that you started off that way. I know you to have been someone looking for challenge and growth and learning and leaning into the discomfort from day one, which has been
Mhm.
really just a privilege to watch for you. And I'm really curious to dig into how your summer went. And so there's a lot of growth and development over this last year for you, a lot of, I would think, discomfort along the way. But
Mhm.
I'd like to hone in on the unexpectedness of your summer. So, the summer between your first year and your second year, which we typically hear students kind of label as their internship summer. So
Mhm.
take me back to when you started your MBA. What was it that you assumed might happen in this last kind of summer that you just went through?
Mhm. So mostly as it goes traditionally that people generally do an internship between the first and second year period of time. Like all those 4 months, they are doing the internship. And especially for the international students, I think it becomes quite important. So just to get a bit of how the Canadian work culture like goes on, and just to get comfortable in the work environment here. So similarly, it was important for me as well to get that internship and get that experience. And other than that, I think after coming here only, I got to know that you can also do some summer and spring courses in that period of time, like alongside your internship. So yeah, that was my thought, that internship and the courses is the thing I would do.
So, if that was the assumption from day one that that's how this summer was going to look, in the beginning, how were you prepping for it?
So I think the first semester I was not prepping for it at all. I think because I was getting used to this MBA, going back to studies and just managing everything on my own here and just settling down. But in the second semester only, I started like working on my resume and LinkedIn profiles, which we generally do for applying for internships. And I think there was the thing where I faced like a couple number of challenges. Just like I was only used to put on my technical things in the resume. I felt very uncomfortable on how I should translate my technical skills into soft skills. So that just to show what is the impact I bring to a team. So that was one thing where I felt very uncomfortable. And the second thing was where it's just that I'm used to a certain amount of like career titles, which I have seen before in my career, but the career titles and the job responsibilities are different here. So
Mm.
that's where I face the challenge there. How
Yeah.
should I connect that?
Yeah. Harman, the thing that I find really interesting about the journey that you went on through this first year is, and Tiffany, and you can attest to this, I am a big advocate of letting a student just ease into an MBA program. It's not something you I almost feel like you shouldn't have to look for the kind of like internships or full-time or those summer work jobs in the first semester. You're trying to figure out life in a new country, work with different things. And so first and foremost, I want to commend you for just taking the time you needed to kind of just really lean into the MBA program. And then, yeah, you get integrated into this like hustle and bustle of, oh gosh, now we have to add career and job search and things like that. And in the first semester, we talked about the challenges that you faced. What's something that you were surprised about? What's something that really kind of stood out to you through that January through April time, other than the challenges, maybe surprised you in a nice way that was maybe similar to what it was back home for you?
Mm, I think first thing was like which was surprising for me personally was how I dealt with it. Like for example, like I was not used to seeing the job responsibilities. I was used to seeing the job role and go for it. And when I actually like when I saw that there are like maybe the job roles are less, or maybe I'm just getting short of those, so should I reach out and maybe check for other job roles as well. So when I saw the job responsibilities and I felt that I can do it, the most surprising thing which I felt was how I could connect something from my real life and put on the cover letter, right? Where you generally ask us to put on a story so that it connects with people. Just for an example, I can just share with you that there was one job role which was for something in the tourism industry, and how people face issue while booking anything and all of that. So I just related it with some trip of mine which I had planned with my friends and what issues I faced. So I started with that. So that was a surprising thing for me that initially I didn't used to do that, but finally I was able to just brush up my mind and convert my skill set and do something like
Hmm. What a journey it sounds like it was as you started to create applications and apply for roles in a different country when they look different and sound different. We're now needing to take technical skills and also add in people skills. Tell me at what point in that semester, so kind of January to April-ish, that you realized that perhaps this summer wasn't going to turn out as you had assumed it might in the very beginning.
Actually, honestly speaking, it didn't hit me till the end of April. Like till April, I was hoping that
Mm.
maybe something would turn out, because there were like 2 to 3 applications for which other people had gotten a response, like either rejection or exception, but I didn't get a response. So I was still hoping that maybe it would turn out to something. But yeah, when I reached out, it didn't go through. So it didn't hit me till the end of April, honestly.
And I appreciate the honesty, and I appreciate the hope in which you approached that semester with. And I think Paul and I would have talked about that a lot through class, that jobs and internships not only start, yes, in January and February, but they go all the way through until April, May, June. Everybody's journey is a bit different. And so to hold out hope and to understand that it could still happen is certainly a
Mhm.
mindset. Take me through, however, the mindset shift. End of April, we're starting to realize it may not go the way we planned. What happened to your mindset?
Uh, I think I was okay till April. Like maybe I was busy with my MBA course and all of that, so I didn't realize it. But I remember on my last career coach meeting with Tiffany as well that I was so overwhelmed that I felt like, oh, this was not what I imagined. Now what should I do with those 4 months? But yeah, there were some days of discouragement, but it is what it is. And as you guys say that do whatever is in your hands, the resume, LinkedIn part, all of those were in my hands, but the rest was not. So I just went with it.
Yeah, and you bring up a really interesting point. It's focus on what you can control and don't worry about the things that are out of your control, right? I think that there were opportunities I'm sure you applied to that you thought you were a good fit for. And this happens. I mean, talk about like a lesson for life and a lesson for any job seeker, passive or active job seeker, right? This is going to happen. You're going to apply for something. You're like, I was a perfect fit for this. Why didn't this work out, right? But let's change the kind of tone and let's change to what did you do next? So what was, how did you create that action plan? I know you had a career coach with Tiffany. How did you change? How did you adapt? How were you flexible to this new kind of what this new summer was going to look like for you?
So, like when the summer just started, I thought like it's a long period of time. What should I do? But honestly, it just felt like it went out very quickly. So in the summer, I was working as a brand associate for Gap, and there I think it was a perfect role for me. Why I would tell you, because I feel very uncomfortable while talking to strangers, so that was a good way for me to just again get out of my comfort zone. And there were some days where I have deliberately like put myself and just pushed myself to just go and say a hi to a person. But I think by doing that now I have come to a point where it just comes naturally, so I'm not at all like uncomfortable with talking to people now. That
Mhm.
is how I feel as of now. So that was a good thing. I was working with their inventory management, the visual team, all of those things. And I also did some 3 courses in the summer spring season. Yeah. And coming to my personal interest, I'm interested in music. So there is one thing which I felt that I really improved upon, and I could give so much time during these 4 months to my music.
That's amazing. Good for you. I was going to let Tiffany kind of jump in with the next question, but I had to. As soon as I heard you worked for Gap, you were talking to a fellow Gap employee at one time. So I used to work for Old Navy, a subsidiary of Gap, and I attribute a lot of my communication skills. I attribute a lot of my problem solving skills, and nothing really phases me anymore when it comes to stress and stress management because there is nothing more stressful than dealing with the general public in a retail environment, especially if we look at like back to school time or Christmas
Yeah.
time, things like that. And so you work on such wonderful skills. And when I think about what the epitome of an MBA internship is, it's going to McKinsey and solving the world's biggest problems that there are and things like that. It doesn't have to be like that because honestly, you are working on one of the most essential and crucial skills that businesses are relying upon, and that is problem solving and its communication skills. So I think that, adapting and flexing to as an associate with a place like the Gap and an organization that's that big, you get to learn so many cool things. So what has been other than kind of like the customer service and the logistics and things like that? What have you noticed from this big entity of the Gap? What have you noticed of how they run? What is some like observation as a new business student? What's an observation of Gap that you have?
I think one thing which I like really appreciate is how they have like linked their like inventory management system with the technology. Now it's not manual at all. So they are doing it with the help of technology, which is really cool and which is very helpful as well. You don't have to like just for example look for things in the store stock room. Like it's just on the system. If we have it, we have it. If we don't, we don't. So that's the thing which I found very helpful, and like I appreciated that how they have linked and used the technology in that.
And you talked about a few minutes ago your ability, even when you were applying for roles, to link life experiences to what that role perhaps was looking for. You talked about tourism and linking a trip. Look at the wealth of experience that you now have and transferable skills. We've got logistics skills, supply chain skills, people management, customer service. You now
Mhm.
have this big full bucket to be able to link transferable skills to post grad job searches. So I'm curious, out of that big bucket of new skills and new experiences that maybe weren't what you assumed they would be, what was the
Mhm.
biggest surprise for you out of this summer?
uh, I would like to mention two things. The first thing was that I always felt that I want a manager who tells me thing and I should do it. But during this summer, I have realized that I like the people, like I like the managers who give me the freedom to do whatever I want to do, like who give me the opportunity to make the decisions. So I felt that one thing. And the second thing was that I always felt that I only like to work in stable environments, not fast paced, not dynamic environments. And that's when I linked it to my strength. So consistency is one of my strengths. So I always used to feel that consistency means stable environment, but it's not that. Consistency is a quality about it can be both in a dynamic and a non-dynamic environment. So that's the one thing which I realized was different.
I think, I'm going to pinpoint a couple things. First and foremost, awesome job kind of tying into the strengths. And I know you can tell Tiffany is your coach because she dives deep, deep, deep into the strengths and the understanding of those strengths. And I think that's really wonderful. I loved when you talked about having this autonomous environment to like have the power to own what you're working through. I think sometimes people are afraid to own what they're working through, and the need for a micromanager is they're afraid to make mistakes. You can make mistakes. The world is full of us making mistakes, and I think that's a wonderful thing that you have acknowledged about yourself. As a fellow lover of autonomous work environments, a shout out to Amber Nicholson for providing that for us. Thank you so much. But I think you know when you think about the unconventional summer that you had some classes that you took, you had the customer service and associate position at Gap, you had some music what did you do to recharge your battery for this summer, getting ready for a second year of craziness of the MBA program? What did you do to recharge?
Mm. So actually, it was still August first week. I was just doing work or I was just doing my courses. It's then when I realized that I haven't done something interesting or relaxed my mind. So for a 4 or 5 days, I went to Vancouver. So my younger siblings live over there. So I just went there, spent some time with them, and got myself recharged. We went on a hike as well. It was a beautiful lake up there. And I ended my summer with last week's Rocky City to Banff, where we went for 3 days, and it was beautiful. And again I again went for a hike, and I saw Banff from up above the Tunnel Mountains. So it was pretty good.
And I just want to poke at this opportunity to spend some more time in your music space. So I've had a privilege to be able to hear some of the music that you do, and it's beautiful. What advantage did that give you this summer to have a bit more space for something that you truly love to do?
I think I felt like music is my safe space. If I do something in music and I'm able to improve in that space, I felt really good about myself. And in those 4 months, I got a chance to do that, like invest more time. And my music teacher is very happy with me to see my growth. And I and again, this is also getting out of my comfort zone. So I always felt very uncomfortable recording a video. So I used to do that with the black screen. But now I have like opened a separate account for myself on Instagram where I record videos, and I'm just getting comfortable and used to on recording the videos.
And I want to challenge you for a moment. What can you link together between spending more time in music, getting uncomfortable, growing in that music space? Connect that to how that's going to help you this next year in the MBA.
Mm. So it's just about I know I have told you this before also, Tiffany, so I would like to share with Paul. So I always take some examples from my music life and apply it to my real life. Uh, it's just stretching your limits. So whenever I sing, I like sing on different frequencies, like different speeds. So like uh, whenever I can't sing, say particularly at a 70 beats per minute speed. So my teacher like influences me to just reach out and sing at a like higher speed, like 80 beats per minute, so that the 70 seems comfortable then. So the same thing I apply in my MBA journey as well. The things which make me uncomfortable, I try to do that so that it becomes comfortable.
Thanks for sharing that. And Tiffany and I are big advocates of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that that's easier said than done. I am a creature of habit. I am somebody that loves my comfort zone, and stepping out of the comfort zone is scary as heck. And I think you are taking on scariness, to a different level. So great for you. That's so amazing. What lessons are you taking away from this summer?
Mm, First thing is appreciating myself more. If I look at my journey, the background I've come from, I'm the first generation female graduate from my family. So that's a big achievement for me. I haven't recognized my achievements more. I have only focused on the things I can't do. So that's not the right way to go with it. So I think I should appreciate myself more. And I have reached a place where, like, in the beginning of the MBA, I used to say that I can't do it, I can't do it, although I start from the same phase, I can't do it. But now at least I have that courage and I have that confidence in myself that I can just push myself to say that I can do it. So I have reached at that point. So that's a win-win situation for me.
And I want to point out that it's entirely possible that those learnings and that intense growth may not have happened in a regular internship. We never know. I'm making an assumption, but that growth came from such a beautiful place of unpredictableness, of an unexpected summer. You've been able to extract such incredible growth, and that is such a beautiful process to follow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Are you ready for a lightning round?
Yeah, I am ready.
All right, let's do it. 3 quick questions, 3 gut answers. What is one part of your career story that has given you the biggest boost?
As they say, the first are always special. So the first time I was working in, like, I was getting a training in a team, and all the team members were completely from a technical background, computer science background, and I was the person from a non-technical background. But I was the one who was chosen by our supervisor to lead him in a project. So which was one achievement for me, and which itself is a like example for myself that the technical skills don't matter as much as your attitude and your learning skills matter.
What is one thing you wish you had learned sooner?
Just reaching out to people and uh, having coffee chat with people, that networking skills. I remember when I had the first coffee chat this summer, I just came out and pinged Tiffany about that I had a chat with a person for 3 long hours and I didn't expect it.
3-hour coffee chat. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Service is something that is really important to Paul and I. And so we're always curious to hear, how is service going to show up for you this coming week?
So this coming week and for this entire semester, I'm working with the Net Impact Society, like which hires sponsors, and we work for them as consultants. I did a project last year with them, but this year I am helping the first year students to get into the Net Impact and just hold events for them. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, Paul. We got one Paul's random question coming.
Okay, Harman, I think she's really worried about this, and she shouldn't be. I was going to ask you, I had thought about, you and I share a love for sneakers and for shoes, and you, by the way, have one of my favorite colorways of the Jordan 1 mids that I really, really want, but I'm not going to ask you a shoe question. Where in Canada is the next destination for Harman? Where do you want to see? What do you want to see in Canada?
I actually there is a Whistler is one of on my hit list. So whenever I go to Vancouver, I tell my siblings to let's go there, but they never go. So that is on my hit list. I want to see the Whisper.
It's a good one for the hit list. I was there this summer, so we can chat for sure. Highly recommend it being the top of your list. Yeah. Harman, thank you so much for sharing with us your love of the discomfort, but also the honesty and vulnerability that it takes to talk about something that didn't go as planned and something as big in an MBA journey as an internship. And it's something that Paul and I talk about from the beginning of semester one, that, you know, it's not the be all end all, but that's hard to believe until you're there. So thank you for normalizing that there are a million ways to learn in the summers between first and second year, but it depends what you put into it. And you put so much into this summer for you that I can't wait to see where those learnings take you. And I really appreciate the passion that you bring to everything that you do, the conversations that we have together, and just your MBA journey in general. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to just do one more thing uncomfortable.
Anytime. All right, key takeaways. Again, always so hard to stick to one. However, we're going to try. And my key takeaway, I just loved how she framed a tool of how she uses frequency perhaps in her music practice. And so if she's struggling to do something at a specific frequency or whatever that may be, that to actually try it at a bit of a different frequency or perhaps harder, so that what you're struggling with might seem easier. So if you're at a stuck point, can you stretch past it, operate just past it, and then come back and see if that does something? And what a really great tool to use when you're just stuck somewhere. It was really pointy, but that's going to stick with me. Loved it. Paul?
I think for me, authenticity and appreciation of self, that's the same thing. I'm not giving two. It is this appreciation of, I have these steps in front of me. I've done what I can. In Harman's case, she tried to get a summer internship. It didn't work out. And sometimes that happens when we go through jobs. But I think the genuine appreciation of self is so important. As a mid to late career person myself, I think that, the appreciation of self gets lost sometimes. It gets lost in the day-to-day. And I think, how can we do this on a daily basis? Just appreciate what we're given the world, because I think we all give the world just wicked things. So,
oh my goodness, so good. All right, next week episode is all about time and energy and boundary management. So it promises to be a good one. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Career Boosters podcast. We hope you had a blast. Yeah, we know that's corny. Catch you next time, and remember to subscribe wherever you enjoy podcasts.